So I'm sure you remember the classic 2D Zelda games. Games like A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, even Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. My favorite Zelda game of all time, personally, has to be the Minish Cap, the game not even made by Nintendo themselves. These games, starting from the original Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo Entertainment System, revolutionized 2D RPGs in its own unique way, and set the path for one of the coolest, most unique series in the history of video games. Enter The Swords of Ditto, a top-down action RPG in the veins of the classic 2D Legend of Zelda games, developed by 1-Bit Beyond and published by Devolver Digital. This game remixes the classic Legend of Zelda style in its own way, with an astoundingly charming art style. You are the legendary Sword of Ditto, fated to defeat the cursed Mormo, who has risen after a 100-year slumber to wreak havoc on Ditto, and you face her courageously on one-on-one, and then you fucking die. 100 years pass, and Mormo continues her rule over the land, until you awake as the next Sword of Ditto. This is the main and unique mechanic the Swords of Ditto brings to the table, and to be honest, it's a really interesting one. It's an eternal cycle, Mormo rising again and a new sword to take her on. Each hero has a unique start, and you can choose one once you start unlocking more, each with one free toy and one free sticker. The fun from this game comes from exploring dungeons and caves, especially toy dungeons. Toys are special weapons and tools, and each are super unique and fun to use. Ranging from a simple bow to a drone that explodes, collecting them are incredibly useful for the long run. You can find 2 toy dungeons, each with a few puzzles leading up to a mini-boss defending a new toy of legend, and these are immensely enjoyable to use, and shake up how you can approach situations. Stickers, on the other hand, work as minor buffs or benefits. Specific ones equipped to certain parts of your equipment, giving abilities like regenerating health when standing in water, fire resistance, making your sword do fire damage, even being able to roll over small holes. The Swords of Ditto is best when it's in its classic Legend of Zelda action, running through areas, killing enemies with that satisfying 3-hit combo, and climbing through various dungeons and caves to get to that chest at the end, be it stickers, money, or toys. In order to weaken Mormo, you have the option of breaking her anchors. Each of these are protected by a true boss, and these are actually really fun. Most of them end up with you mashing and then running to dodge, but the dodge roll attack actually makes it pretty satisfying, so it almost excuses the simple repetition of each of them. There's this whale god you make a deal with, giving you either a second chance if you die to Mormo's hand at the final battle, which normally ends your sword's life and leads you to move on to the next sword. Or, if you finally get to defeat Mormo, you can pass items and toys on to the next sword to give yourself a head start in the next cycle. This game is really charming in its simplistic art style, and it really establishes the childish adventure that the game's supposed to be. You use toys as weapons like dart guns, yo-yos, and watches against these cute enemies. Everything has this childish charm and twist, even the dialogue. The art seems like it's just hand-drawn with the simple colors and the smooth lines. It's cute, and I love it so fucking much. My gripes with this game indeed come from the repetition the game uses as its selling concept. While the idea of playing as endless generations of the Chosen One seem interesting, the dungeons begin to stagnate. The map stays the same every time, so you would think that there would be random generation, but there really isn't. The charm gets lost, and the combat also gets very stiff the second time around. The game is a ton of fun the first run, but dungeons don't really push the possibilities as far as I'd wanted them to, especially with toys. I was hoping more dungeons would take advantage of the toys, like the Anchor dungeons did, but none of them did. It's just a simple run through to a chest that probably doesn't really have anything interesting in it to begin with. There could be an amazing amount of possible ideas, but they just feel the same every time. Nonetheless, this game is worth it for the first time around alone. The secrets are charming, and the gameplay is really fun to explore, but the game just ends up shooting itself in the foot with its own selling point. It's still a cute game though, fuck.